crutches. No more crutches.
I got that.
All right, is that going live? Is that going live?
Yeah.
We're live. All right, cool. Hold on. I'm very bad at introducing shows. I will turn over to our producer, Gigi.
Okay, I'm not gonna do much better, but here goes. Welcome back to our 9th episode of Chat Bout Flim. We're first just introduce everybody. Today it's gonna be different. Simon.
Hi.
And we have our main host today, which is Shayne.
Morning, afternoon, and good evening.
Okay, so we're keeping it to the family today. They're brothers, guys, so it's gonna be really cute. And then we have Simon.
Hi.
And Javi.
Yeah.
You want some of this? We have like a secret person here too. All right. And now we're going to do the call to action. So guys, remember, subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Go to anchor.fm/chatboutflim. Listen to us there. The podcast audio is way better than what you're getting on YouTube. Not even sure if you're hearing me right now.
And Instagram.
Yeah, no, I said Instagram first. Oh, that's Instagram. And we're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you're listening to us right now. Hopefully you listen to us on one of those podcast places. Just subscribe to us. It's free. All right. And now we're going to go into our hot topic.
Cool. And what is our hot topic today, Gigi?
Okay. Today we're going to talk about... You laughing at me? No. Okay. Today we're going to talk about... So you remember Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? They're going to do a reunion on HBO. All the original actors. I don't see dark skin Aunt Viv on the original actors list, but
I doubt she gonna show up. Sorry. No, I doubt she's going to show up. That ended ugly.
Badly.
That ended very badly. And she hates Will. So
I mean, but you know the
Will basically got her canceled.
Okay, so on the list we have Will Smith, Tatiana Ali, Karen Parsons, Joseph Marcel, Daphne Maxwell Reid, Alfonso Ribeiro, and of course Jazzy Jeff, because you know him and Will. And then I don't remember, there was like a viral video that went out this year of like a reimagining of Fresh Prince where it's like a drama. Will Smith also saw that and he said that he's going to produce that as a series. So you guys can tell me your thoughts on everything I just said.
That's a lot of what you just said. But well, all of this, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's a fresh look. I would really like to see that dramatic representation of that comedy. Growing up, I never thought of it as a drama. But seeing that fan trailer, I was like, okay, yeah, it is an actual dramatic story. And then, you know, you remember episodes, especially with when Will Father did come and visit him.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, it's like, well, that was actually, you know, more serious than funny.
Right,
you know? So it's like, okay,
right.
all right, we'll see where that is, where that can go. But yeah, looking forward to see what they're going to produce. Adam, you have any comments?
Yeah, I mean, same like you. I obviously grew up a lot later than you did, but
Shade.
I grew up a lot later than you did. Old ass bitch.
I also grew up with I also grew up watching Fresh Prince, and I mean, some of my favorite episodes were the really heavy, dramatic ones where it's like there's no laughter going on in certain seasons. Like they will talk about heavy topics, and I mean, sitcoms in general do that pretty well.
They do that.
And I think Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was one of them that like really hit hard where the dramatic moments are concerned.
Yeah, and I guess you know, in its time, especially showing positive values in a black family, similar to the Cosby's and that sort of thing. So, yeah, I'm curious. The story does have a dramatic side to it, so let's see what they come with.
All right. And our next thing is trailer review. So today we're going to be reviewing an animated film, Rumble.
What? Yeah, already.
Are you ready? This is the main event.
You guys can talk to me.
Yeah.
He's coming.
Go get some of this. Who wants a selfie? Tentacular! I'll get your whole life story tattooed on my body! Yeah! In a long history of monster wrestling, there has never been a champion quite like Tentacular. Fans around the world are asking, is there a challenger out there with the hunger, the drive, the discipline to become the next? Alright, I think that's enough for today.
He might not look like much, but there is a champion monster inside of him.
Thank you. That felt great.
We seriously need to work on strength and endurance. Fortunately, I know just the thing.
Yeah, that's gonna be a hard no for me.
Oh boy.
This is my nightmare.
Okay.
Pause. So what did you guys think about that trailer?
That's it?
That's the whole trailer.
Yeah, that's the whole trailer.
I don't.
Then, like,
It's a fairly new movie. They'll probably release a second trailer next year. You know?
A more complete trailer.
Yeah.
It just left me like, okay.
You know, they'll do that trailer where it's like, you know, the starring actors, you see the name fly up on the screen, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I mean, as it did, no.
No, it is not.
Tell us why.
Well, I don't know. We've seen monsters in already, right? Kind of, you know. I mean,
Yo, it look horrible. It look corny.
Thank you.
Just say it. Let's rip it apart. Rip it apart, Shayne.
It's hard to watch. For me, it's a very hard trailer to watch. Very slightly. I don't know what else to say. It's not a good trailer. It's just really not a good trailer.
Okay.
Is there anything from an animation standpoint?
Yeah, like a technical standpoint.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
let's do that.
I mean, and that's probably why I said it was but because I mean, it looks good. It looks good. It's animated well. It's designed interesting, to say the least. And I mean, I just, like I said, the second trailer will show off a lot more clearly. This is something that's probably still in production, and they still need to fine tune a lot of it. Yeah, the jokes that they're trying to do in the trailer itself are in fact corny, but I mean, that's animation a lot of the time. A lot of the times they get away with the corny jokes because it's animation. And they're pandering to a particular audience.
All right, cool, fair enough.
Second monster was Seth. That was Seth doing the voice for the second monster. Seth.
I think so. I'll look it up.
Seth who?
Seth Rogen.
Oh.
If so, then we know what the jokes are going to be.
Well, it depends on the rating.
It depends on the rating.
Yeah.
Because Seth Rogen's last animated movie was definitely rated R.
Yo,
What was it again?
Sausage Party.
Oh!
Well, that's what I had for breakfast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I did not have sausage.
we're gonna
I did not have sausage for
move into our guest is Adam
Wanliss.
Wanliss, yes. I knew this. He's an animator, Jamaican animator. And Adam, I want you to tell us about what it's like animating in Jamaica. If there are any, I mean, I know you're not doing things like Disney or Pixar, or are you? I don't know. You can just tell us about that.
Currently, no. Currently, I'm working on a lot of in the work stuff, like not even writing wise. I'm a full time. So my work depends on my client, and I have some personal. It's still a very niche market, in my experience, anyways. Yeah, there's not much work out there for animators, but it's growing as the community itself is also growing.
There are companies like Listen Me, that, I know that they are doing with the animated version of
Lime Tree,
and that sort of thing. So I guess I do see where the industry is growing in terms of even animating former local productions with all local productions and bringing it into modern context. I suppose should open some opportunities for persons like yourself.
Yeah, I saw it's like it's definitely a big thing that's going on within maybe the past 2 years now. Because similar, I know some of the people from Listen Me, and like I have worked with them a few times before. So that's definitely a studio that I'm watching, and I'm seeing the growth, and I'm really happy to be a small part of that as well, and hopefully work with them even further.
Mm-hmm. But what about someone like the education of opportunities for animators? I mean, you have people who coming out of high school and they don't necessarily want to go for the conventional degrees, the lawyer, doctor, Indian chief kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, yourself, the journey in terms of getting into animation, any at all, I guess is if you could give me expound on that just a little bit.
Sure. I went to the Edna Manley School of Visual Arts for 2 years. I eventually left there, and I did a short animation course at Karma.
Cool.
That was for 6 months to then be working at a former local studio. After which I did go to Canada, where I went to Vancouver Film School for a year, where I studied animation concept art. So I now have a diploma in that. I'm proud to say that, and I came back to Jamaica afterwards and been working on stuff ever since.
So like, I know the animation community, as you say, is quite niche, but like, how do you guys like band together and have projects that can collaborate? And are there ideas in the works that maybe one day we'll probably see like something on Netflix or anywhere we want to see these kind of things coming out of these communities, creative communities?
Yeah, I mean that's the dream, isn't it? To have your stuff on the screen itself, whether Netflix or the big screen. Netflix is the big screen, I guess, nowadays.
It's the only screen.
It's the only screen nowadays, But yeah, there are, and a lot of it comes from the people that are within the community that personally know each other as well. Like a lot of the people that I know personally, in terms of the network, I went to school with them, or like they're my brethrens and my sistrins and stuff like that. So always.
You want to shout out?
I showed them out earlier, but I'll say like the entire crew at Listen Me, like I know those people. I love their work. I follow their work personally and in the studio, and
We need names.
Oh, sorry. There's Jet Lane, Gashwayne Hutchison, Patrick Michael, Jheanelle Brown, Kenya Mattis. She runs Listen Me basically, and I want to shout out Ikem Smith as well. He does a lot of video work mostly, but he does dabble in animation as well, and he's done amazing stuff for musical artists as well. So I just want to big him up too. I see him in the chat.
I'll watch him.
Yeah. Last I also want to big up Nathaniel here, aka Stratos. He and I have been going to animation school together. We went to the same studio together.
Man.
We bounce ideas off of each other all the while. And he's an amazing artist and an amazing animator, and definitely one of my closest friends.
Okay.
Oh.
It's romantic over this.
Okay, well, thank you so much for talking about that. Even though you kind of already touched. Oh, actually, we're gonna close off this segment. Say? Anybody else? Anybody?
Yeah. For all those who are on the Instagram live, if you want to finish what go to YouTube. That's youtube.com/c/Chat Bout Flim. We're actually going to turn off the Instagram live and we're going to go straight to YouTube. So check that out now.
Okay. Should I just set it again into the mic?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you couldn't hear, what Sam was saying is that we're gonna close off all our extra behind the scenes feeds. So that's the Instagram. So everybody over on Instagram can come over to YouTube, or if you're busy right now, you can listen to us later on the podcast at Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. I don't want to say anywhere you listen to podcasts, but if you're listening to a podcast right now, just subscribe there. All right? Off.
All right, so where do we go from here?
We're going to talk about our topic.
We're going to talk about our topic. And our topic is...
Favorite animated film.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Cartoon movies, like these swinging mics.
What?
Hype.
All right, fine.
Whenever Shayne agrees with the fire button, it's just like that.
You're right.
Yeah, I can.
Okay, so we're going to talk about our topic. So both of you are going to give us your top 3 favorite animated films. I'm really interested in what you have to say about animated films and the landscape that has.
I think it's not, but that's fine.
You're right. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Okay, so let's get into it.
So let's start with the guest, eh? What's your first favorite?
All right. The first one that I have on my list is actually an animated movie, which is Cowboy Bebop Knocking on Heaven's Door.
Okay, let's talk about that. I must confess I haven't seen it. So you need to kind of guide us through why
the first
Cowboy
Bebop Knocking on Heaven's Door. All right, well, this is, as I said, it's from an anime of the same name, Cowboy Bebop. That was redubbed in English by Funimation Animation, and I mean it's a
I know a lot of technical.
I mean you gotta know studios sometimes, especially if you want to work for them. True. It follows a quote unquote space cowboy or a bounty hunter by the name of Spike Spiegel, and he's doing his antics, and there's a terror attack and there's a hunt for this guy. It's amazingly animated. It is like I repeat watch certain shows and I repeat watch certain movies, and that is always on the list.
Mm-hmm. Is there any what about the animation that strike you? Is it was it the story? Is it the storyline, the concept art? What is it about it that kind of grab it?
I mean, kind of all of the above. Like the story itself is catching. The anime is very limited. I believe there's only 12 episodes.
Okay.
Like for the entire series, unfortunately. And the storyline and the backstory and everything that goes into it is interesting because it plays off like a noir sort of action film. It has slow burns. It's space, so it's a lot of sci-fi. But it plays on classic tropes as well.
I have a question. You said that certain animation houses. Can you tell by looking at a animation like, oh, that animation house did that one because I know their style? Do they have certain styles?
Some of them. Like when we watched the trailer for Rumble earlier, I don't know if it was picked up earlier. I said it under my breath. I said, "Oh, that kind of looks like Blue Sky or Paramount," and it was Paramount.
Okay.
So certain studios do have their recognizable styles. I mean, 100% Disney has a particular style. You see it and immediately say, "Oh, this is probably a Disney movie, isn't it?" Yeah. So with me, it's a little bit harder because Japanese anime.
They all look the same to me. Being honest.
Not really, no, not to me. Yeah.
I don't even think to you. I think if you put three beside each other, you notice the differences.
Yeah.
You think so?
As Simon tries to project later and throw it at the microphone.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably just don't watch it enough to know that like immediately like it's different. Like you won't pick it out. But I think if we were to like give you 5-minute clips from different studio hosts, you'd be like, oh, so that's a Pinterest look like.
I think our mystery guest wanted to say something.
You know, I was gonna say sometimes it's not just about the studio, but it's the type of anime. A studio can do more than one type of anime, but you have like, for example, you have chibi anime different from because it's gonna look different.
Right.
So you know, like when you see all the little kids with the big heads and the big eyes, like you know, that kind of, let's say, series is gonna look different than something that's gonna be more serious. But it could have been done by the same studio.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr.
What you get?
I mean, Japanese anime, even to this, still all hand drawn. They don't do it on computers. They hand draw it. They hand
No
paint.
shit. So how long that take?
Boy. put it this way. The movie is like an hour and a half long. It's animated on 24 frames per second. So that's 1 second of animation is 24 drawings.
Wow.
So do the maths. And
So like 10 years.
boy, maybe even longer. But that's why animation studios are usually big. You have like hundreds of people working on a single production because they all have a deadline to meet, and everybody's animating something different. Somebody that animates the character does the backgrounds different. Somebody that does the special effects does different special effects, different. An explosion, fire, water, grass moving on the ground.
So does Jamaica have that resource, that capacity to like maybe have a big, large scale production house like that?
100% I feel that way because we have the talent, we have the numbers in terms of people with the talent, and I think it's just a matter of like just coming together and being like, yo, let's all work on this one thing together, which is easier said than done, to be honest. I mean, you know, a lot of people want to be their own boss kind of situation. You know?
Well, I mean, it kind of there's something else fundamentally missing from that. You have to remember that in Japan there's a market for it. There's money being pumped into it. Money is the driving force at the development of all these things. So like, I mean, it's all good that we have the talent, but a lot of the time our talents leave because there's no money to fund it.
Well, I guess the local market interest not that strong outside of, you know, a corporate company want to animate an ad or something like that. I guess that is where but an actual production house dedicated to animation, the viability of that would have to be what them can export, the deals them can make with the major networks and that sort of thing. And that will brings into the lawyers, you know, so the whole structure of the animation industry or the film industry on a whole is something that needs to be looked at in terms of making sure those facets are in place. Because once the industry is in place, then yeah, sure, you can build a hell of a production house.
Sure.
As long as you have the direct, who is the market and who you're making these animations for.
Exactly.
You know? Well, yeah. Well, I mean, we're kind of backtracking to a little bit of something local, talking about the local industry, but that is the free flow of the podcast. I feel as though is what my turn to go with my first.
Are you
one.
finished with
You finished with
Yeah. So I would 100% tell anybody that has not watched it, both the anime and the movie, watch them. Them bad.
Okay, I will.
Okay. So you can go into yours.
My one is a little it's a little bit less technical than Cowboy Bebop or any anime, because I'm thinking of like the animated movies that I first watched that impacted me. Now I'm not gonna say that they were good, okay?
Sure.
But it did have an impact at me as a 5-year-old child for the first time, not reading the story, but watching the cartoon shots where I'm joking. Okay. I'm being right that time.
Actually not, bro.
Remember having that cassette?
Well, yes.
Cassettes.
Yeah,
The thing
Yes,
is that
VHS.
yeah,
the thing is that
cassette.
you may have seen it on VHS. I think at the time it must have been one of those afternoon TV show thing that was
Right,
coming on
JBC.
JBC.
Okay.
JBC.
And, yeah, it was
For some people, tell them what JBC is.
Jamaica Broadcasting Corporation, the TV station of in the
That
days
used
of
to lock off at 12 o'clock.
Yeah, we used to
sign off, and it was the days of the Flintstones, you know. we used to drive cars with our feet in those days. But anyway,
So just to be sure, you're talking about the 1973 film or the 2006 film?
No more
this would be the 1973 film, Charlotte's Web.
I think from what's a cassette.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a story about a very wise spider, and a very not so wise pig, all living on a farm, and the pig was the runt, the scrawniest of the litter, get left behind all the time, and he and this spider became best friends. They were best friends, and it's this whole weird talking animal shit. I don't know how it gets us, but yeah, I just remember watching it and learning a lot of life lessons were in the film. Most importantly, death. Because looking for this spider, amazing. I really, really care about her.
Yeah.
For you.
And it carries me to
Spider love. That ain't a bunch.
spider love, man. 8 limbs, y'all. Man, like, but anyway, she dies.
Yeah.
She dies in the end.
Yeah, for those who don't know, it's all spoiler alert here, so don't come
Yeah.
It's 1973.
I mean,
Yeah, but you probably have some of the viewers at home that are like, oh, I'm going to write
Some of
down
the
these
younger
movies and I'm going to
viewers.
finally watch them.
Yeah, no, they're going to watch the Dead Spider movie.
So in all of this, it to me it was a bit morbid to carry me through all of these ranges of emotions, having me get attached to these characters, and then you're going to kill her. Like, I was broken, I was distraught, and this is a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
It's not
but it prepared you
supposed.
for Game of Thrones, didn't it?
It
Well,
definitely did. Well,
George Martin's Web.
Well,
it prepared me for the book, not for the TV show.
well, please.
But yeah, but that was my thing. Like, I'm watching a cartoon. This is supposed to end well,
Right.
and this was my first lesson that life doesn't end well.
Damn.
So that was Charlotte's Web. So for me, yeah,
Damn. Okay, so how old were you when you watched this?
I was probably about 5.
So you learned that deep lesson at 5 years old.
Disappointment of life, yes, deep.
Damn.
Most of us learned with a goldfish.
Damn. I guess I learned with a dog. I mean, I think that's the Jamaican equivalent to goldfish. True.
I actually have.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're probably
Yeah,
right.
but you're right.
I know more
Yeah.
people growing up with dogs than fish,
I'm hungry on
Well.
that.
KK, come cool.
Let's not get cancer, guys.
But yeah, I mean, similar to you, like I watched the movie, Saturday morning at home, going through the cassette collection, found that one. It's an animated movie. And when I was younger, I will only watch it if it's animated. I did not watch those coming of age TV shows that Disney and stuff had. I watched the cartoons. So Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network was my shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I watched the cartoon. So I saw that, and immediately I saw the back cover. It was drawing. So I was like, man, watching it, excited about it. Watching like the scenes with I forget the rat's name, and like he's going through the fair and stuff and eating all the food, and he comes back and he's fucking huge. And then the end of the movie, Charlotte dies, and like as number,
It's a pig name,
right? Isn't that right, Will Smith? You see. Because his name is Wilbur, isn't it?
Will Smith's name is Wilbur?
Isn't it? It's Wilbur? It's not like William.
I'm gonna check it right
What?
now. I'm gonna check that shit.
It's Willard. Oh,
Willard.
my bad.
Oh. If he was
my
actually
bad.
Wilbur, I would literally die today.
Yeah. I
Yo, my chat about the brave little toast.
Yo, yes. That was another movie.
That was pretty good.
As a
man.
child watching that, it kind of traumatized me. As a fucking air conditioning unit committed suicide in that movie. Like
The darkness of cartoons, man.
Right?
They get all nice. You think it nice?
there was a dark
Cartoons have been dark.
like all right,
Always.
so going into a little bit of like animated movie history. In the 90s, animated movies, they consider that the dark age because that's when all the really dark movies were coming out. The Black Cauldron, Brave Little Toaster. There was like
Princess Mononoke, 1997, won a lot of awards.
There we go. Princess. I mean, that's the thing with Japanese animation. It's not really for kids, in my opinion,
It's not.
because it's bloody. There's cursing. You know, some of them there's nudity, that kind of thing.
Especially Studio Ghibli.
Especially Studio Ghibli. So I mean, you know, kind of funny. Kids watching now. You know, whatever. But yeah, so a lot of dark themes were addressed in animated movies. And then I don't know what happens in the start of the 2000s. Everybody was just like,
We
no.
need to be happy.
And you know, it's probably censorship. They were probably just like, my kids can't be watching this in their Saturday mornings when they're sitting and eating cereal or whatever it is. Yeah, so someone else.
I think a big effect that happens with that is I think after Vietnam War especially, a lot of shell shock soldiers were not given harsh material and things like that. A lot of them so
Yeah.
just like those same parents who say, I don't want my kids watching that. Some of those mothers were living with husbands where a movie like Charlotte's Web would actually trigger
Trauma.
PTSD and trauma and things like that. So they changed a lot of their media. Even I think President at the time changed a lot of the media to help fit into that.
Okay.
Yeah. Going back to Charlotte's Web. When Wilbur cried because Charlotte was dead, I also cried. Because
I run to my mother like, yo, they killed my friend.
Yeah.
My friend. And my mommy look at me like, what friend? The spider. What?
Like, Shayne, you don't have any friends. What you talking about, Shayne? Go back to your dark room.
And that sadly was true as well.
Oh, man. So funny.
Matthew McCarthy. Big up Matthew, by the way.
Big up my Idealist.
Yeah, Idealist. He says that these animated cartoons really cut through sometimes for real, because pre-Toy Story was kind of a story about triumph over abandonment issues.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. and they were.
Yeah, that's how much it stays there. I know a long time.
Yeah.
And
They did that for Toy Story 1.
Yeah, that's actually a very good series. But I think we reach
your second one.
The second one, okay. For my second one, I want to change the medium a bit and switch to stop motion animation. And I'm going to talk about my favorite stop motion animation, or one of my favorites, Kubo and the Two Strings.
I guess Simon is
movie.
excited.
No, send on the microphone.
Yeah, Simon is ready for this.
Yeah, Simon ready for that one. Yeah. Maybe we should even turn it. Let's see what
No! Take me off the camera. I don't have on my face. My hair don't do it. People don't realize how difficult stop motion is.
Yeah, man.
And it has its own look, it has its own feel, but there's something about Kubo, also the themes of it. Like, I saw that in theaters, and I was so happy. I remember I was in New York, me and my brother John was like, what were we watching? There was a whole bunch of like action movies, typical type of movies. And we're like, yo, let's go watch Kubo. It was like we and 5 other people in the theater. And it was just gripping for the whole time. Right. And to know that them actually, each millisecond was them moving a piece or a character or something, it's crazy.
Yeah, man. That's
work.
That's like focus.
And to name drop our studio as well, that's Leica. That's Leica Studios. They perfected that shit. like a lot of the times in the behind the scenes of, or rather like the post credit stuff. So for one of their films, Box Trolls, for their post credit thing, they actually had a scene where it's two characters and they're standing and talking, and then the camera zooms out and you see a sped up version of the animator and the sculptor moving around the pieces in real time. Well, it's a sped up video, so you see him step in and out, but each of that is one picture.
Yeah.
Wicked.
And it's moving so fluid. You talk about 24 frames per second. Imagine that, but now you're moving a physical thing, and it looks just as smooth.
You have
Like,
any experience with
like hardware.
stop motion?
Very little. I did unfortunately I don't have it anymore, but this was like, I took like Play-Doh and like I just kind of moved it around like an inchworm,
Okay.
and I had it do a bunch of stuff, and it was really cool. I was just like, I didn't have to do it. It was just me messing around when I was in Canada. But yeah, it's incredibly difficult. It's not my forte at all. But I have like a really high respect for that. And separate and apart from that, Kubo is a great movie. Like,
Yeah.
it looks amazing.
Yeah.
And for the
story
uninitiated,
too.
what it's about?
Right. So Kubo and the Two Strings follows the title character Kubo as he goes on sort of a mystical journey after, he lost his parents. He's an orphan. And from stories that his mom used to tell him, those stories that his mom used to tell him, goes on his quest to find her. And he runs into like a ragtag group of different characters. There's a monkey, and there's a guy in a suit of armor that he's a beetle. So he has, four arms, and he's a samurai. Right. So this entire movie is like heavily Asian themed. I believe it's supposed to set in like some sort of feudal Japan era, that kind of look. And he encounters these mythical creatures that he then has to combat, and he discovers he has a power that involves origami.
Okay.
Sure. Cool.
Okay.
Sure.
It's as cool as it sounds.
Yeah, and it looks really great, and I'm almost certain, you can probably fact check me, it broke a world record for world's largest stop motion model, which was like
the big thing.
The big thing at the
they showed it
climax.
at the end of the movie.
Yeah, where there's like this giant armored skeleton thing.
Yeah, it filled up a whole room. It's like-
Yeah. And I believe that broke a world record for the world's largest stop motion model. Prop.
You're right.
Yeah. See, like, look at that. Using animation and breaking world records.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did
you watch it, brother? I don't know if you
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. And I mean, I think you've summed it up quite well.
Okay.
I have no complaints. I can't challenge it. There's nothing there. There's just nothing there.
No, it's terrible.
Yeah.
We all agree.
Yeah, I'll agree. So admittedly, I'm making this up as I go along. I didn't actually have a list, but the one that came to mind just now.
I mean, don't feel no way. I made a list, and like coming into this, I constantly message either Simon or you. Being like,
The first Avatar,
Okay.
which is Fern Gully, the last rainforest.
He was just like, I'm sorry?
Yeah, that movie that James Cameron took and made a movie of blue people.
Okay.
The original Avatar.
Yeah,
Fern Gully.
original.
The last rainforest. You seen it?
Oh yes. I've seen
Avatar
it many times.
0.5.
Yeah. Beta.
Yeah. I've seen it, and like what?
I mean, it was all-star cast. I think it was Christian Slater, Robin Williams. Who else? I don't even remember who else was in that. But it was basically the same thing. Human got
Last
shrunk.
Airbender is coming up. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah.
No,
It's
Fern Gully.
Fern Gully.
Okay.
Wouldn't
Rainforest.
it be funny if you type in Fern Gully, the last rainforest in Google, and you see? Do you mean Avatar?
That would be so
That would be
good.
very.
Yeah, but it's the same story. A human, is saving the environment. Right? It's the same story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And but except you have a bat in it that raps.
oh damn. So, Avatar, apart from being really pretty, sounded really good. Like, legit is one of the best surround sound mixes I've heard. Ever
If you don't know,
on
Jamar is an audiophile.
Trust me, like, I remember the first time I watched Avatar, like, properly, is here. Right here. And I remember sitting down and watching it on Blu-ray and hearing all of the channels activate. Like, I hear an arrow flying from behind me, and I'm like, I remember sitting down and watching it on Blu-ray and hearing all of the channels activate. Like, I hear an arrow flying from behind me, and I'm like, yo, it was so well done. The visuals and the audio, it was a supreme package.
I mean, there was a reason why when it was just coming out. There's a reason why when it was just coming out that every ad for a new entertainment system had that on it.
Yeah.
There was a reason.
Trust me.
It looked damn good.
Yeah.
You want to hear it.
But the old version of it,
Yeah, I mean, it's the origin story, you know.
Part two, I mean,
it did. There's a sequel to Fern.
Oh, that went straight to VHS, eh?
It did indeed. And it didn't have the all cast.
I jest, but I really did enjoy Fern Gully as a cartoon growing up. You know, it was a wild adventure. I mean, it wasn't a time of 3D. I can't imagine what they would have done with it if it was a more modern representation of it. I can imagine that it would have looked amazing. You know, but the story was, you know, it was a good story. It was well cast, and I enjoyed it as a youth.
And well, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't the movie start as live action? No? Or am I mixing up with something else?
Fern Gully, the last one. It was all
I
animated.
think there's a live action scene or something.
I thought it was one of those things where like it started off live action and then he shrunk and that's when it was all animated. No?
As far as
I'm
I
mixing it
remember,
up
it
with
was,
something else.
But you're saying a lot of things that are
Two.
triggering a memory in my brain.
I don't know, because I keep like thinking, when I'm thinking about that, immediately what I thought of was Osmosis Jones. I don't know if any of you know that movie.
I know Osmosis Jones.
Yeah.
It's all right. You know, it's the thing like one that would have been in I was confused. I thought it animation was Who Framed Roger Rabbit because it's you know it's a mix of you know of both. But you know, and honest, like one of my favorite movies of all time is that. You know. But after that, you had a whole lot of movies that was blended. The first movie that I saw blended by that real thing with animation would have been Mary Poppins, actually.
Mary Poppins, yeah.
When the whole painting scene, when them jumping at the painting, you know, right. All of that was, you know, live and animated.
Yeah.
And then there was Cool World with Kim Basinger.
Yeah.
That was another one that they have that blend of real and cartoon. So there was a range of them. But what you call that genre? That's
like mixed media, yes. If you were to put it into a category, I mean, I still call it animation because animation is in it.
Definitely.
I guess it just depends on what the ratio is, because like Who Framed Roger Rabbit has lots of animation. Mary Poppins had little, but they had Bedknobs and Broomsticks, which had a lot more than Mary Poppins. Like most of it takes place in animated world. Right. So like for me, that's not even a live action movie. It has 4 live action characters and it's a bare cartoon.
True. And even more so, as Jet is saying in the chat, Space Jam. Space Jam, you know, you have live action in the real world, and then he gets pulled into Looney Tunes world, and then from there, you have a few times where it goes back to the real world to see what's going on there, or maybe a joke or whatever. But it's all cartoons, it's all a joke. And they're actually making a sequel to that as well.
Space Jam? With Michael Jordan or
LeBron James.
KK Cuckoo.
They supposedly released. The internet hated it, as they do. I mean, I personally hated it as well. But you know, it's probably like our first draft. They haven't started filming anything yet.
I feel like they hated the first one too. The first design. I feel like
they did.
Always.
They did.
I mean, like, and here's the thing. Like, I watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff on like YouTube and stuff, especially for animated stuff. So I recently watched a thing for Space Jam, and they said that one of the reasons why even some of the dialogue and jokes in Space Jam felt very forced is because Space Jam was extremely commercial heavy. So like they're 100%. That's where all their budget came from, because Warner Brothers kind of didn't want to do it. Michael Jordan definitely didn't want to do it at the time either, because he's like, I'm exactly. So you gotta get those endorsement deals and all that stuff to buy into it. But yeah.
Cool. So number three.
2D animation is my thing, so I'm going back to that, but more in the classic sense. So for my third movie is The Road to El Dorado.
Okay.
I don't know. Do you know that one?
I know the film. I didn't watch it.
Okay. So The Road to El Dorado. I'm completely forgetting whether or not it's Fox Studios or something that did it, or Universal. Yes, that one. So it looks like Disney. But and now that was like a lot of misconception, because usually during that time, Fox, Warner Brothers, Universal, and Disney were all competing in as far as their 2D animated movies were concerned. So, and a lot of them, it's the same staff that are working on these films. So a lot of them tend to look similar.
That makes sense, because
the lead animator was the same guy that did Pocahontas, actually.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, DreamWorks.
Yeah, there we go. It's DreamWorks. Yeah, I said Fox. Yeah. So The Road to El Dorado is again one of my favorite 2D animated movies. It follows two miscreants, as you can say, in Spain, where they're hustlers, and so the opening scene is literally them playing dice with a crowd of people and, cheating them out of their money. They get discovered, but they have a way out of it. So like they've been working together for this long time. It's Miguel and Tulio. Spanish names because it's a Spanish theme thing. It's Mayan theme because that's what El Dorado is. They're not going on.
Not a rum.
It is also.
Really, dog?
This entire movie is about rum.
It's the Road to El Dorado.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like a good joke.
Niggas getting jumped.
But yeah, it's eventually, their hijinks get them into trouble. They get put on a ship where they were being taken to, I guess, the Spanish Empire to then serve prison time. Huge storm. They get flown off the boat, and they end up on this island where they've discovered this place called El Dorado, which is a legendary city of gold. And they, again, being swindlers, they trick the people into making them believe that they're gods because they're two white men in a island with a bunch of brown people. Where did they come from? What is going on? Oh, I'm gods. It's like, oh, I'm gods. I mean, there was like a motif artwork thing that had imagery that looked very similar to the two characters. So they just played off of that and they're like, yes, we're gods, as a way of, let me get all this gold and then we're heading back to Spain. Yeah.
Yeah, so what did you like about from the animation?
From that, apart from it was very funny. The dialogue between the two of them sound ad-libish, so it kind of reminds me of like some Saturday Night Live shit. But I mean, it's all scripted. It's the performance of the two actors.
Yeah.
And it's animated really well. Like there's a lot of action scenes, there's a lot of chase scenes, that kind of thing, and it's animated really smooth. And it's like one thing transitions into another. It's not, something happens and it cuts, and then something happens and it cuts and stuff like that. And visually, it just looks great. I'm looking forward to being able to order the art book for it because, yeah, it just looks fantastic and the story is great. Dialogue funny. One of my favorite animated ladies are in it as well. this character named Chell, who is somebody that they meet there, who is already suspicious of them when they walk in, and she immediately knows you're not gods, but I'll play along with this so that I can jump in because I want to get off this island. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna split my third one into two.
Alright.
And this is actually both, and I guess I've been pretty basic thus far, so I think I can get a little bit more technical now, which would be Incredibles 1 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
Those two really.
See, if you weren't winging it, you could have just have those two and maybe take out Ferngully. Or you couldn't
Why
take out
take out
Ferngully.
Ferngully though?
This isn't your show.
Oh! Okay.
Shut the mouth with a little bit of money.
Wow.
Chat too much. Oh boy.
Wow.
But
Damn.
anyways,
But yeah, the first Incredibles,
God. It's
Yeah,
I did not
kind of
know what to
Yeah,
expect
yeah.
when I watched it, and I want to tell you the truth, it was my good friend, the late great Peter Dieterkaz, that actually told me to watch that movie. And I was like, why Peter telling me to watch cartoon? Peter really watch cartoon. But I went to see that movie at Curb, and it blew my fucking mind. There was a bit of realism to the characters, the relatability to the characters themselves,
Yep.
and then the stretching of the animation. Like, I really feel that it was very well done. I was very impressed with the story and how they put the characters together. I can't tell you there's a character in it I love more than the other. I do relate with our family, So, I'm wishing I had super strength because God knows the pains I wake up with in the morning. But yeah, I really, really appreciate that, especially the chase scenes. With Dash running on top of the water. That's imprinted in my mind as one of my favorite scenes in animation.
Yeah, it's great.
But yeah, really, really appreciated it. What did I do something?
No,
No.
continue.
Oh.
it's me.
It's somebody, you have something to say?
Yeah. Like immediately when you said Incredibles, I was like, all right, I'm ready because again, also one of my favorites, Pixar animated movies, like story, animation, it's great.
Yeah, man.
And
Clean, man.
it's like, that scene where Dash is running from the spinning drone things and he sees the water and he closes his eyes as he runs. And then
It's the laugh.
he's like, open his eyes and he's like, what? And he looks down and he's running on the water. He's just like, it's just great.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I feel like, and I mean, I'm not as versed in like superhero families, like in terms of like comic books and stuff like that. But I don't think there's a superhero family that like the children are actually children. Like, is there?
No, I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Yeah, I can't think of anywhere. They're like kids. They're probably like teenagers and stuff like that. But there's no kids.
Jack was like a picnic.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I liked about Incredibles is that they made an effort to touch on certain topics as well, and family structure was one of them. I know a really funny scene that I saw somebody post on IG afterwards. I don't know if it's one or two, where Frozone, he's at like what is kind of the scene of the crime, but he's a superhero. But then the police is coming and he's just like, yo, out! Yeah, so Frozone is black and he's like, yo, I know I can free shit. I'm out. I'm done. Not gonna make the popo catch me. You see me? So these little topics, and then I know at the end of one of the movies, like he's running in the race, like the track team, and they're like, faster. No. And it's all about and I think they try to touch on the social effects of being different.
Yeah.
So it's not just about being a superhero, but it's about being different.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, the entire movie is about like the real life ramifications of players. I mean, you know, in the past, you know, in the past, you know, he incredible like saves his life from falling off a building. The guy turns around and sues him because you prevented him from committing suicide. It's like and it's other people that are suing. And if you think about it, within the real world, that's that kind of that's kind of how they were treated.
And I thought of it could have been the catalyst of that whole realistic look at superheroes kind of thing that we have now been brought to screen, just in terms of okay, you have a TV show like The Boys that shows, you know, that kind of structure, you know, like an actual structure, and the frailties of the people and that sort of thing. So you know, I guess adding like you know that element, you know, was it's pretty cool. And then I mean, I don't really know what else to say about like Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I don't really know what to say about that. That was expected video, and I mean, just for that, it was like.
Did you watch it, James? No.
You would remember. Yeah, you would remember.
I told you to watch that.
Yeah.
That's the one where it's black.
Yeah, it's Miles Morales story.
I didn't watch it.
Oh,
how many different animation styles are in that?
Man, okay, so one of the reasons why I personally love that movie is because it goes from so it's mostly all 3D animated, as in its, you know, meat and bones, but things are cell shaded, which means, you know, you take a 3D model, you draw over it, and it looks like a 2D cartoon. It's down to that the idea was that they made it look like a comic book. So even the special effects and everything, especially all 2D animated, and they have the little polka dots, real comic. There's comic book jokes in it as well, where you actually see dialogue jump up on the screen and things like that. One of the characters that jump in. Sorry, bro, I really want to watch the movie, but we're spoiling it anyways.
Straight.
But one of the spider personas, Penny Park, who is like the anime spider girl, where she comes in and she has like a spider robot thing.
Yeah, crazy.
She is all 2D animated in the style of Japanese animation. And then you have Spider Noir, who is all cell shaded animation, but he's all gray, he's all black and white, no color, nothing, and stuff like that. So I actually can't tell you the amount of different styles of animation that's in it, because it's like they try to cram all of them in there, but in a way that it looks great. It doesn't look like a mess.
It looks great.
It was an experiment that went right.
Yeah.
Like that. I mean, how long did it take like that? Like, man, that was.
I mean, with Marvel money, probably not as long as you might think, but also not quickly.
Yeah, which was interesting, because like this. So Marvel tends to be very, Jet calls it 2.5D. Marvel is very like, you know, they're big conglomerates, so they'll like sign off on certain things, especially under Disney. They'll be like, this is what this is what's in the MCU and stuff like that, and be like, this is what we're supporting. Anything else is not. You're not going to see Marvel logo come up on it in the opening scene. But this one, it did have it, and it also had Sony, because Sony animated, and Sony has the right to Spider-Man.
Nice.
So, yeah, lots of money was probably pumped into it, and I'm very glad that it was, because I can't see enough praises for that movie. And I'm looking forward to the next one in 2022.
Sounds like Sony didn't spoil that one.
No, we'll end up spending another hour.
So you had your 3, right?
Yeah, all of them. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna ask everyone, including the mystery guest, if you have any honorable mentions for anime.
Mystery.
4 years.
Oh, that's a lot longer than I thought.
Yeah. The entire studio.
So honorable mentions for me would be Akira. Scoop. One shot for myself. Wall-E. I was like struggling with Pixar, but Wall-E touched my heart.
Yeah.
And then Justice League Flashpoint Paradox. You never like that? You never like that?
So,
You never Flashpoint?
no, here's the thing.
Yo, both Max and Tommy from
I just slowly saw the
everybody was like, yo, shut that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm one of the live action films. Flashpoint Paradox was one of my least favorite ones though.
Out of the whole series?
Also,
The animated universe, you mean?
You're raising your hand like,
yeah,
sir,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. Out of the animated ones, yeah. I would say.
Okay, well, I enjoyed
it.
it. So I get you.
Yeah, I mean that's fine.
Yo, remind me, what's the Dark Knight? That's it.
That
Or
the one.
no man, the base. What's the anime?
Oh, the Miller one.
Yeah, Frank Miller one.
Oh, yeah.
Dark Knight Returns. Yeah, Dark Begins, Dark Knight Returns.
Yo,
Yeah.
that is the best
Yes.
of the DC animation.
Yes.
I could watch
It is,
that,
it is,
like,
it is.
every day and still enjoy it.
Yes.
It came in 2 parts, right? That one.
Yeah.
The movie came into
The movie,
Yeah.
yeah. The comic was good too.
Oh yeah.
But for me, I think my honorable mention would be because I don't like animated stuff. Like
Yeah.
I thought I really like most of the ones you said I saw them, but I
Yeah, for
watched them
sure.
twice. You get me? Back in the day, the one that caught me was Advent Children, Final Fantasy Advent Children.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I first saw that, like the fighting, I was like, "Oh, this is so good." It
Yeah.
was excellent to me, and I haven't seen it in years,
Mhm.
but I really, really enjoyed that when it came out.
It's Returns, and that one is Strikes Again.
Yeah, and I do also love Advent Children. I'm a diehard Final Fantasy fan, and when they came up with a movie for that, I was like, I'm not hesitating. I'm watching it right now.
Jamal.
Well, if I go mention anything but animation, I have to bring up Naruto. Naruto changed my life. I mean, Dragon Ball Z was Naruto changed my life. I mean, Dragon Ball Z was really good, but Naruto changed my life.
Sure.
Like,
I have nothing to say.
Yeah, I've never seen any of them.
Yeah.
man, Naruto go right up to Naruto Shippuden. Yeah, trust me. Like
Okay.
Sure.
the story, the character building, the animation, everything for me was good except for the filler episodes. But anyways, that's beside the point. But Naruto did make me realize just how deep animations can go.
Is that a movie?
No, it's a series.
It's a
No,
series. They have movies.
They have movies. They have
But what
5
is
or
it?
6
So the
movies.
honorable mention is the movie?
Everything. The
No,
whole
that's the
body of
animation
work.
of
Oh, all right,
body
cool.
of work.
The entire
Great.
body of work.
Okay.
But they have movies.
Okay.
Sure.
All 200 plus episodes.
You mean
Yes.
700, 800?
I don't know. I lost
The
count.
few episodes alone is about 200 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's enough episodes.
No.
But it's for sit down and watch so much episode and it have to be really good. It's and years and years and years.
Movie this time.
Yes. Batman Ninja.
What manager did
I did like
Alright.
Batman Ninja.
It was a
It
nice
was-
thing to look at.
Yeah.
It was
It was ambitious.
It went totally left of what I expected. And I think that's why I kind of like it. It wasn't like your regular Batman visual. I'm like, all right, this is good. And where they set it in terms of it was like Asia or something like that.
Yeah. It's in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did like how left they went with that whole production.
Okay.
Okay. So my honorable mention, I don't know if the animation style is really cool or not, but the story like needed cry. Inside Out. Anybody knows
Okay.
Inside
Yeah.
Out? Where everybody's
Yeah.
on that feeling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like three of those feelings.
Yeah.
Hungry.
That movie was definitely in its feeling.
You're definitely a depressed girl, though. The blue girl.
The depressed.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I'm not even
You
gonna.
okay?
I
You
am.
okay?
No, obviously not.
All right.
Okay.
Look at our company.
Yeah.
It can be okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, Internet was really good. I love that movie. I watched it in theaters, and yeah, Disney Pixar does a good job at emotional trauma.
They do.
Good job.
Yep.
Yeah.
They do. They really do.
All right. So we have a question that we ask all of our guests. which is if you had a superhero power, what would it be?
Okay. Teleportation. But there's specific
We haven't had that. Oh.
specifically teleportation. I don't know if y'all remember the movie Jump Up
Yeah.
with Hayden Christensen.
Yeah.
That one specifically because of like the conditions of the teleportation. It has to be more you've seen before.
Right.
So
I may never been to Bali, but I'd love to teleport there.
Yeah,
well, you better teleport somewhere nearby that you know. You better teleport into an airplane you've been in.
Yeah,
I was
you can look on a picture, which is why like the main character in his house had a bunch of postcards of different places.
What if him look on a picture and where him teleport to something below over there since then him will teleport into the building?
Yes.
Oh.
Those are the rules.
I will go ahead and say
Those
that.
are the rules.
Jaja.
Okay, you reading any other comments?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, Jet was saying just to give it up for Samurai X, Dragon Ball Z, Gundam Wing. You know, them kind of show there. Big them up as well.
Just big up the entire Toonami line. Like Toonami.
Yeah, YouTube live up today?
Live.
Toonami introduced
More than usual.
a lot of anime and stuff to the Western world. So big up Toonami.
Straight up.
Okay, well, I guess we're gonna sign off now. We're gonna give you our gift, which is our shirt.
Oh snap!
So
snap! Yeah,
take a
right.
picture.
Get some swag.
Wait, Shayne, you're supposed to be the picture.
Yes. Okay, while they get it together, I'm going to do.
Oh, that's the face you want to give? All right, cool.
I'm going to do the second call to action. So, guys, thank you for tuning in on the live and your comments. Really appreciate that. It's way more than we usually have. So just keep that coming. Instagram, follow us, listen to us on Spotify. So sorry. Listen to us on Spotify, listen to us on Anchor, listen to us on Apple Podcasts,
Google Podcast.
You know, just watch our space on Instagram, see what's happening next. Really appreciate all the support. And we're gonna sign off now. Okay, bye. Love you.
Peace.
Miss you.
I don't know, my nose is in that.
I mean, I could have done that.
Oh, true.